Okay, watching your little birds grow up and fly off from the nest can be a really tough time for parents. Here with advice on handling this period of transition, we welcome back licensed therapist Maegan Megginson. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having me back, and happy end of summer.
Happy end of summer, happy back to school. And so many parents are going through the first time experience of sending one of their little babies, not so little, off to college for the first time.
That's right.
Mixed emotions, right?
Absolutely mixed emotions. I think a lot of parents are understandably excited to be launching their kids, but for many parents, the bigger emotional experience is sadness.
Right.
A lot of grief.
A lot of grief.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because we're supposed to be training them to be independent eventually, right? Are we just not ready ourselves for that to happen?
I think that this has a lot to do with the way our society treats grief, right? We treat grief as something to be avoided, something we only talk about when something really bad happens, right? So someone dies or there's a big tragedy. But the reality is grief happens every day. Grief is a normal part of any transition. So we want to really normalize the experience of grief. You are losing a season of your life. It's over. You're moving into something new. It is totally normal to be sad about that.
And then can you simultaneously celebrate this independence and a really exciting time in your kid's life?
Yes, I mean, what we're all working towards in life is learning how to feel conflicting feelings at the same time. I want to be happy and sad, you know, scared and safe, excited and nervous. We can feel all of these emotions simultaneously. So that's really great advice. As your kid is leaving the nest, allow yourself to feel moments of celebration and allow yourself to have a good cry when you're feeling sad about it.
A good cry is always worthwhile. Are there things that folks can do? I know some kids have already taken off. Are there some things parents can do ahead of time to prepare for the transition to make it easier on not just them, but the whole family?
I think talk openly about what's happening, right? Don't be shy about sharing. This is what I'm afraid of. This is what I'm sad about. This is what I'm excited for. I think the more we normalize conversations about transitions as families and the way we're feeling about these transitions, the more smoothly the transition itself will go.
And what about younger siblings? I always think about those ones can have the toughest time of all watching their big brother or sister fly off into this big world.
Yeah, that is such a good point. I think that's a really great time to get on their level and get really curious about what they're feeling. Talk to them, you know, what are you feeling as your brother goes to college? What are you afraid of? What do you need to feel safe and comfortable as we make this change as a family? Don't underestimate how smart and emotionally insightful your younger children are.
True.
Give them a chance to tell you what they feel and what they need.
And I've heard a lot of people say that you can start building healthy habits right away in terms of keeping that communication open. That works for everybody. Your college student might not want to check in with you every single day, maybe once a week or so, say hi to mom and dad and brothers and sisters at home.
Yeah, you know, I think this is a great opportunity for parents to reframe what it means to be a parent to an older child, right? You're always going to be mom, you're always going to be dad to your kid, but now that your kid is a young adult and they're living life independently outside of the home, it's a great time to have a conversation with your kid about how they want to engage with you. How often do you want to talk? What kind of things can I do to be most supportive to you? Sit down with them, adult to adult, and see how they want to engage as they make this transition into college.
Do you find that some parents have a hard time just accepting that their grown children really are adults?
Of course. This is why therapists will always be in business.
There you go.
You know, like, yeah, of course it's hard. It's a hard transition, but it is happening. And I think the families that really struggle are the families who are resisting the reality that their kid is now a young adult. So the best thing you can do to make the most of this transition is to allow the truth to be the truth and meet your child as a young adult. Don't continue treating them like a teenager, like a high schooler. They're going to resist and they're going to pull away.
We don't want that. It's only going to create more conflict down the line. What about if you feel like, as the parent of a now becoming an adult child, that you've lost a bit of your identity as they're no longer in the house? How do you kind of navigate that?
This goes back to what we were saying earlier about feeling multiple things at once, right? On the one hand, please feel the grief of recognition, all of the years that maybe you haven't been tending to yourself or you haven't been nurturing yourself. You're probably going to feel sad about that. On the flip side of that coin, celebrate. You're stepping into an entirely new season of your life where you get to rediscover who you are as a human being, and that is a very exciting time.
Well, speaking of that, if you have a partner at home, you could kind of, I think a lot of people find this time where they're, wait a minute, the kids are gone, we're just staring at each other. What do we do now?
Right.
It's an opportunity to reconnect, but it can be kind of scary to confront that.
Definitely. Kids going to school represent a really tricky time in many marriages. This is the time when you and your partner are going to discover, have we been tending to our relationship the past 18 years, or did we start kind of ignoring each other? If you find that you sit down together as empty nesters and you have nothing in common, or old resentments are bubbling to the surface, it's time to get into couples therapy. Hands down, you need some support bridging this gap between the two of you. If you sit down and there's, there aren't really any resentments, you just kind of don't know what to do with each other, date each other again. This is a brand new opportunity to meet who you are as an individual in this season of your life, but also, what is your marriage now? What is this relationship between you going to become in the future?
And you don't need a babysitter.
Sure don't.
You can celebrate that.
Put that money towards a vacation.
Are there certain things that you hear from teens now who are preparing to go off to college, different concerns or things that they're maybe excited about?
I think they're excited to be away from their parents. Let's be honest. Like, not much has changed from 1950 to 2024. Yeah, they're excited to be in the world. They're excited to be independent. And the best thing you can do is celebrate that with them, and also let them know that you're always going to be there to support them in whatever way they need.
They're going to make mistakes. They're not going to be perfect, and neither are we. So we have to let them know that we'll be there to catch them if they fall.
Let's meet everybody with grace. This is a hard transition.
For everybody.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
it was great
you're
to
so
see
welcome.
you.
You too.
We'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this. Thank you.